Week 13, a great day of NFL football loomed over the horizon as the Cowboys rode into RFK and shot the air out of their rival Redskins. Also looking to clinch the division, the Bills found themselves in the clutches of McPherson's McD. Intercepted on their way to a title. I said intercepted on their way to a title. Warren Moon and the Oilers. A new Giants twist in Tampa. A major show of heart by Detroit. Don't blink. NFL Primetime is next. Once again, everybody, I'm Chris Berman. Welcome to NFL Primetime. The week number is 13, and wouldn't you know, it was a wacky week. Undefeated? Detroit, lot of heart. Unbelievable action on the field. We've got a lot to show you. Helping me do that, of course, Tom Jackson, Robin Roberts, also some key injuries. Jeff Hostetler, Troy Aikman, LT. We'll update you on all their situations as Primetime develops. First of all, though, let's get you caught up on the late games around the NFL. They're going overtime at Soldier Field in Chicago. Two great coaches, Shula and Ditka, will go the extra stanza. Kevin Butler has just missed a 50-yarder at the end of regulation, so the Dolphins, which scored late on a special team miscue by the Bears, now go to overtime with Chicago. The Jets have come back strong. They beat San Diego at the Meadowlands 24-3. Pat Leahy, his 300th field goal. Seattle Seahawks wasn't pretty, but they did what they had to do at home against Denver. They beat the Broncos 13-10. Denver's lost 5 of their last 6 in the Kingdom. And with 4 minutes to go, a turnover fest between the Philadelphia Eagles and the Phoenix Cardinals. Philadelphia has baked 27 cookies. Phoenix has baked only 14. There's under 4 minutes to go in that game. We'll update you as the game progresses, show you highlights later. We have football tonight between the Saints and the Falcons. An excellent game here on ESPN.
NFL Primetime is brought to you by Dollar Rent-A-Car. Right on the airport. Right on the money. And by Advil. In tablets or caplets. Advil. Advanced medicine for pain.
Welcome back to NFL Primetime. It was supposed to be a happy reunion for Marty Schottenheimer when Kansas City Chiefs, his current team, played at Cleveland against the Browns, his old team. Still a lot of respect in Cleveland for the job that Schottenheimer used to do with the Browns. So much so was that the current Browns wanted to say, Marty, we took what you taught us, and we've improved on it. The dog pound, welcoming Marty back. Christian Okoye, not north-south, but he found...
Anytime you run him in that direction, you got trouble.
James Jones recovers, but you've only seen this one time all year. Now you've seen it twice. Bernie Kosar picked off Ajax Pearson, and the Chiefs ball again. Christian Okoye fumbles. It was his own nightmare. Twice inside the 5. Marty saying, Christian. Second quarter, Leroy Hoard says, hey, big guy, here's how you do it. He rolls outside. And guess what? He's going to take on Derek Thomas and carries him for 10 more yards. On the same drive, Bernie Kosar finds Hoard in the flat. Look at him make the turn, and on third down, pick up the first down. 3 plays later. From the 1, no stopping him. Touchdown. They're whooping it up in the pound. 7-0 Cleveland. Hoard 139 all-purpose yards today on the ground and through the air. Late in the first half, the same score, Kosar to Foghorn Langhorn. Good by Chris Martin. Final seconds, the Browns need to stop the clock. Back to pass, and is this grounding? That's what Marty thinks, Tommy.
Chris, I don't think so. Kosar took a look, but the rule states that if you're avoiding a sack, then you get the penalty. He's not near being sacked right there.
And the Natalie-clad Bill Belichick agrees. It's 10-0 Cleveland at the half. Third quarter, Kosar, watch this. Bernie, are you kidding me? Of course not, Chris. I and Leroy Hoard there all the time. Let him go. He could go all the way. The worst-looking, beautiful 71-yard touchdown pass you've ever seen. Art Modell says we're up 17-0. Then Steve DeBerg to Emil Debbie Harry, and it's a 20-15 Cleveland lead. He caught the ball 11 times for 159 yards. When DeBerg throws 50 times, probably not good for the Chiefs. His 50th pass, and this is how it looked. 3rd and 10, down 5. The Hail Mary, Alfred Jackson picks it off for the Browns. Marty Schottenheimer goes back home and gets a rude awakening. Kansas City has fallen again thanks to a lot of turnovers again. They lose at Cleveland 20-15. Raiders at the Bengals. On the sideline, the Boomer with a bruised hand. On the field, the Donald, as in rookie Donald Hollis. Bengals first drive. Hollis over the middle. No, picked off by Ronnie Lott. Lott jukes, jives over the midfield stripe. This sets up a Steve Smith touchdown, 7-0 Raiders. But Ronnie Lott wasn't the only former, I forget where he played, that had a good day. Roger Craig, the only man in NFL history in the top 20 in receiving and in rushing for 7 yards. For 9 yards. Craig up the middle. Still rolls for it, although he pays, and then Roger caps off the drive with a 5-yard run, 14-0 Raiders.
Yeah, if you look in the middle of the line, you see the nice fold block and Steve Smith leading him into the end zone.
Roger today, Tommy, 10 carries, 51 yards. Touchdown as a rusher. First touchdown as a Raider. Just win, baby, no matter what the weather. Tim Brown, you know what he does? He wakes up the echoes on this punt return. No one's going to catch him. 75 yards. The silver and black. Way ahead, 21-0. Toast Patterson. That's right, the former Giant corner having a big year on special teams. But Elvis did not leave the building after that play. Bad snap, Aaron Wallace, belts Lee Johnson. Toast with a touchdown. 28-7 at the half. Ronnie Lott says, I want some off. And the rookie Donald Hollis obliges. Picked off, you think Ronnie Lott's having fun? What? Right over the would-be tackler. Second of the game, 6th of the season for Lott. Art Shell and the Raiders, winners of 6 of their last 7. They're on a roll. Another impressive win, despite the fact that they only got 176 yards in total all day. They blast the 1-11 Bengals 38-14. Tommy, and with Denver's loss, they're tied in record. But because they've swept the Broncos, the Raiders now have come from, I don't know if they'll make the playoffs, to being in first place.
Yes, Jay Schrader today did not have a very prolific day throwing the football, 4 of 10 for 30 yards, but the supporting cast picked things up very well, especially Roger Craig and Ronnie Lott. Where did they come from, Chris?
San Francisco?
I think so.
Raiders in first, the Niners
are not.
All right. We have plenty to show you here on week number 13 in the NFL. First of all, for the Chiefs, we mentioned that they had another bad loss, and what we mean by bad is that a normally very careful Marty Schottenheimer team for the second straight game has been rumbling, bumbling, and stumbling. 9 turnovers in their last 2 games equal their total for their first 10 games. When we return, you know this man was fired up. Dick McPherson. He had reason to as the Patriots hosted the Bills. Mora, Mora. That's what they're shouting in the Dome. We want Mora wins. One Mora win for the Saints, and they clinch the NFC West on ESPN. We'd like to welcome those of you that have watched the Miami Dolphins go into Soldier Field in Chicago and get a Pete Stoyanovich field goal of 27 yards, 4-11 into OT. The Dolphins stunned the Bears in Chicago. Is there nothing sacred in Week 13? Well, I'll have highlights later. The Eagles in that turnover bowl score another touchdown, and they win at Phoenix 34-14. Eagles, a very hot ball club. We'll show you highlights of that later on. Robin Roberts, it was not your normal week for the Detroit Lions. Yes, they're thinking playoffs, but their thoughts have been with their fallen teammate Mike Utley all week long. They had on paper what was a big game, and we wondered would they ever be able to play.
Well, it's got to be the most difficult thing for any team to overcome, losing a teammate in that fashion, such a tragic situation. It had to help his teammates somewhat that Mike Utley has been said to be in good spirits since his tragic neck injury that left him paralyzed last Sunday. But you still had the feel for the Lions as they took the field against the Minnesota Vikings. You knew how important this game was, and everybody was feeling for him. Surely Utley was on their minds, and the man he used to block for, Barry Sanders, paid tribute to Utley with his performance on the field today, as all the Lions did, and they thought of him in other ways. Utley still in Henry Ford Hospital, the Lions wearing number 60 on their helmets in tribute to Utley. Well, they came out inspired in the first quarter. Barry Sanders fakes one defender, then he bounces off another, goes in from 17 yards out. The Lions up 7-0. Sanders is so tough, TJ.
Robin, he is the complete package. Here he freezes the linebacker, Jimmy Williams, and then you watch his strength. When he gets hit, he has great balance, and he also has the speed to get into the end zone.
He certainly does. Rich Gannon can't move the Vikes. He gets nailed by Dan Owens, forces the fumble. The Lions recover. The first 4 possessions resulted in 2 punts and 2 fumbles for the Vikes. Jerry Burns says, well, let someone else throw the football. Darren Nelson, the halfback option, floats a 25-yarder to Anthony Carter. He gets popped. He holds on. Nelson, he is pumped about his first career touchdown. Now, AC caught a lot of passes, but Steve Jordan from
Brown University.
Well, yeah, that's right.
You never forget that.
He looks smart anyway. He breaks Ahmad Rashad's team record for most receptions with 401 catches. And then in the third quarter, first and goal from the 5. Eric Kramer does not call Barry Sanders' numbers. DJ Dozier gets the call. He goes nowhere. Second down, Reggie Rutland. He knocks down Kramer's pass. Third down, Kramer, too high for Robert Clark. Eddie Murray missed a chip shot, and TJ Wayne Fonts is not going to make the same mistake twice.
An offensive line play, a key. You see Barry Sanders, unlike he has to do most times, not juke and jive, doesn't change direction, makes a beeline to the end zone.
45 yards he goes. Sanders makes some great cuts. His third touchdown from 4 yards out, 24-7, Lions in front. Sanders on the draw play. Again, he goes for 45 yards. He doesn't get in, but it's a second 45-yard run from scrimmage. Touchdown number 4. Compliment for the great block by Lomas Brown. A 9-yard score. Sanders toted the ball 23 times for 220 yards and 4 touchdowns as the Lions celebrate after a tragic week, 34-14. The Lions 8-0 in dome stadiums, and they're assured of their first non-losing season since '83, but that was the least of their concern today. Their fallen teammate, Mike Utley, was foremost in their thoughts.
We don't have a cure for paralysis on this team. We're not neurosurgeons, but we do control maybe his spirits a little bit, how minute it might be. But maybe knowing him sitting back home, knowing that we won today, might put a smile on his face for a few minutes.
I think everybody wanted to win that one for Mike, and Mike, that one was for you.
Now, TJ spent some time with the Lions this week, and I would imagine emotional, to say the least.
Well, certainly, Robin, very emotional team today, and I thought that they would have trouble focusing. They played inspired football, and the thing that most impressed me was his teammates, the offensive line, his mates as far as his position. I thought that they came out and cleared the way for Barry Sanders to get that 200-plus yards.
You know, we're talking this morning on game day, and you had been out there all week. You weren't sure that anybody, you know, they're only human whether they'd be able to play. But I think, no disrespect to the Vikings, this was a win for the human race. I think everybody, football fan or just human being, was pleased with what the Detroit Lions were able to do today. It speaks a lot of their character, that's for sure.
That it does.
At the other end of the spectrum, that being said, in football, were the Colts of the Packers today.
Yes, only 3 wins among these two. The Colts with 1, the Packers with 2. Green Bay hoping to beat somebody other than Tampa Bay this time as they take on the Colts. Lindy Afonso looks at the stats, sees the Colts are last in the NFL against the run, so they run by committee. Vince Workman, Keith Woodside, Darrell Thompson. Then in the first quarter, Thompson picks up 10 yards on the sweep for the first down. Then Woodside sweeps the other side for 13 yards for another first down. Finally, it is Workman over the top for a 1-yard score. The Packers in the lead, 7-zip. And Vontae pulls quarterback Mike Tomczak aside. He says, you know what, you can even run against these guys. Third quarter, Tomczak with a bootleg from 2 yards out. 14-3, the Packers build their lead. Rick Venturi, no, he's not pleased at all. The Colts offense rests on Jeff George, but TJ, George faced heavy pressure all day. Robert Brown and Tony Bennett getting a piece of him here.
Yes, and Robin, this is seen becoming all too familiar to Jeff George, being snuck up on by a defensive end like he is Tony Bennett right here.
The Pack, with 7 sacks, they have 37 for the year. They only had 27 all of last year, but the Colts have a chance late. George, he's pressured again. Incomplete. The Packers hold on to win by a final of 14-10. It's the first time that the Packers have beaten anyone besides Tampa Bay since Week 11 last year in Phoenix. Next week, the Packers travel to Atlanta while the Colts host the Browns. But going back to the other game, Chris, the Vikings still have a week off. They must win. There are 3 remaining to have any kind of shot at the playoffs.
Well, you know what the problem was with the Vikings today? They said this was their Super Bowl to get in the playoffs. So they used the word Super Bowl. There was no way they could possibly win the game. Barry Sanders, he's unbelievable. Detroit rushing record today. And now that he's gone over 1,000 yards, Robinson's 3rd straight year, he's got a clause in his contract. Every lineman on the Lions, starter or otherwise, including Mike Utley, not that this is what he was looking for, but because Sanders over 1,000 yards, each lineman gets an extra $10,000 this year. You can see what Barry did today versus the last 3 weeks. The surprises continued in Week 13. The Oilers could win the division, but Pittsburgh was steamed up at home. And could they go undefeated? The Redskins knew they were tangling with their rivals, the Cowboys. That the Bills, looking for their 4th straight AFC East crown, would turn on the gas. But it turned out that New England was the team loaded with fuel as they went up to Foxborough in their 3rd straight road game. Pretty good crowd turnout in inclement weather, and Dick McPherson was happy to see everything. Jim Kelly, he had trouble. Tried to hold up, couldn't hold on to the ball. This is how the Bills look. Hugh Millen, tell you what, this guy's having another Pro Bowl year. Cornelius Bennett playing some middle linebacker, too. To the Pats, Vincent Brown is unsung. He's a heck of a linebacker as he sacks Jim Kelly. Special teams for Buffalo is very good. Pro Bowl special teamer Steve Tisker, a tasker. Blocks the punt by Sean McCarthy. The Bills recover. Bills lead at 3-0. Jim Kelly doesn't look pretty, but the dump to Thurman Thomas, he does the rest. 10-0 Buffalo, Tom.
And Chris, this is the reason he's the best all-around back in football. To make this catch alone is almost impossible, but to catch it and get to the end zone.
But New England had other ideas. Maurice Hurst with a pick up Jim Kelly, and he returns it upfield. Soon after the Patriots are threatening, Hugh Millen figures he has the receiver, but the long reach of Darryl Talley stops the Patriots rally. Back to Kelly and the Bills on offense. It's that man Maurice Hurst again. Makes the pick in front of Lofton at midfield. 10-3 Buffalo lead. Millen deep to Irving Fryer, knifing his way through the Buffalo defense and into the end zone. They miss the kick after. It's a 10-9 Buffalo lead. It's now 13-9 Bills. Millen to Fryer, having his best year as a Patriot, rejuvenated this year. Down to the 11, Millen takes it in. The Patriots lead at 16-13. Fryer on the day, 134 yards against the Bills defense. Hugh Millen was a guy that gave Marv Levy fits. Millen is surprising. He's coming on every week. He's got good feet, and most of the times he's got some good range. Jim Kelly's had the best year of any quarterback this year. Hits Al Edwards. But the wheels started to fall off. I mean, the Bills are looking like the old Patriots. Wasn't ready for the snap from Kent Hall. Then, this is ruled a sack. It's a bad-looking play no matter what. Williams and Ray Agnew on the play. 4th and 9. Can the Bills keep the drive going? No, sir. Short hop. The Patriots hold their fans, and Jim Kelly's not happy. There are his numbers. 4 interceptions today by the Patriots. Guess who is happy? Dick McPherson. Win or lose, that's the scene we've grown to love this year. And the Buffalo Bills won 5 in a row, but they're stymied at New England 16-13 as the Patriots pick off Kelly 4 times, sack him 4 times. And New England continues to impress after 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Oilers at the Steelers. The Houston Oilers, could they win the AFC Central? They would with the win at Pittsburgh. And Warren Moon figures, well, I know it's cold outside, but I used to play in Canada. It's okay. We've got a better team. Moon didn't look good early. Short hop Drew Hill. Pass tipped by Craig BCR, fittingly from the University of Houston. Then Moon fumbles the snap. Steelers recover, turn into a field goal, 6-0 Pittsburgh. Could it be an upset? The Steelers have had a long year. Second quarter, Moon short hops Hill again. Warren at times has not looked his stellar self this year. But on the next play, he finds himself. Now this, you can tell, Tommy, when he throws it, looks good.
That's vintage Warren Moon.
Drew Hill, 25 yards. Tommy, this you can tell looks good.
Moon on the move, firing the ball with authority.
To Ernest Gibbons from
Louisville.
7-6, Jack Party's Oilers are up. Houston's next possession, this when he throws it, you can tell it looked bad. Picked off by Sean Vincent, and the Steelers in business deep. because that sets up the third of 4 field goals from Gary Anderson. At this point, the Steelers lead it 9-7. Now, late in the second quarter, Neil O'Donnell to Dwight and the family stone between defenders. It's a touchdown.
Yeah, this looks like bad coverage by Steve Jackson and Bubba McDowell, but Bubba McDowell gets a little push right there. Dwight Stone created just enough room to catch that football.
16-7, Pittsburgh go to the second half. Could Moon pick himself up? No. Brian Hinkle with the interception near the midfield stripe. And the veterans play sets up Warren Williams. Running left into the end zone, 23-7 Pittsburgh. Houston and Moon still trying to make a game of it late in the third. On 3rd and 4, Tony Jones, shoulder pad, incomplete. On 4th and 4, they're going to go for it. A coverage sack made by Keith Willis on the play, and the Steelers get the ball on downs. 23-14 late. Moon, another shot. Shot down by Sean Vincent. That was the ball game. Warren Moon picked off 5 times. Kelly picked off 4 times for the Bills. Big-name quarterbacks, big-name teams going down in divisional battles. The Steelers, for one afternoon at least, evoke memories of old when they never let the Oilers win the AFC Central. 26-14, Pittsburgh wins it. Tommy, let's go back to the Bills' loss to the New England Patriots. And we've said until 3 o'clock in the afternoon, the Patriots don't wake up. But today they got something. They got paid off by their efforts.
The Patriots story begins with good defense. I think Joe Collier creates a situation where they're always in the game. For 4 weeks in a row, they've come close but come up a little bit short. Coach McPherson said the building character that does wasn't enough. We have to start winning games. I think they finally have the knack.
I mean, Buffalo will win the division again, and Houston will win the AFC Central again. But on this day, their divisional rival said, not here, not in our place. Very tough to win those road divisional games, we are reminded. We've got plenty to come on this edition of NFL Primetime. Warren Moon, last 2 games at 3 Rivers. The ball's been flowing the wrong way. It's been picked off 9 times compared to only 2 touchdowns. When we return, the Dallas Cowboys and the mercurial feet of Emmitt Smith try to do the unthinkable, beat the Skins at RFK. Come on, man! The Dallas Cowboys and the Washington Redskins, 2 long-time rivals. They're starting to throw the undefeated word, the U word, around Washington to describe the Skins. And everybody was saying, well, who might beat them? Philadelphia maybe late in the year, the Giants late in the year. Few mentioned the Cowboys, their arch rivals, as the team that could derail the Redskin Express. RFK Stadium. The Skins 11-0. Joe Gibbs looking to make it a dozen. Jimmy Johnson's club, 3rd straight on the road. Danny Copeland cheering on the crowd, like Aaron Copeland, the composer. Troy Aikman, he composed himself to Alvin Harper. Beat Martin Mayhew for 38 yards. But on Dallas's next drive, it was revenge for Mayhew. He makes the nice interception at 31 yards. He could go all the way. It's a touchdown. And the Skins are doing it again. They're up 7-0, this time the defense. Michael Irvin went into the game tied with Gary Clark, most yards receiving in the NFL. Great matchup against Pro Bowler Darrell Green. Irvin for 13 yards. Aikman to Irvin in front of Green for 17. And again, Aikman to Irvin. This combination is flying this year. On the ground, Emmitt Smith. Let him go. 32 yards. Forget it. It's a touchdown. We're tied at 7. Jimmy Johnson hair is still in place. He's psyched. Dallas wasn't done. No field goal late in the half. The Hail Mary. It's Alvin Harper. A touchdown from Aikman. 14-7 Dallas. Aikman throws the pretty passes. But a scary start in the second half for the Cowboys. Aikman hit as he releases. Right leg. This looks bad. Caught under jumpy gathers. Fortunately, it's called a sprained right knee. They play Thanksgiving, which is only a few days. They think he'll be okay. But for this day, it was Steve Furline. And now you know why the Cowboys made the trade to get Furline, a backup who could pick up at least close to where Aikman left off. And it's Furline. And the catch by Michael Irvin. 23 yards, 21-7 Dallas.
Chris, you won't see this many times. Darrell Green being spun around as he was here by Michael Irvin, who makes the juggling catch for a TD.
Michael Irvin, impressive all day. The Washington offense, 107 yards through 3 quarters, and they were getting booed by their home fans. But rip into Gary Clark, rip into Arthur Monk. On 4th and 10 at the 24. Rip it to the Senator, Ricky Irvin, for 13 yards. 2 plays later, Gerald Riggs plows into the end zone, 21-14, a 92-yard drive for the Skins to bring him within a touch. But Dallas turned the tables. They don't have guys the size of Gerald Riggs, but then again, the heart is certainly the size when you talk about Emmitt Smith. 3 third-down plays. There's the second one, and here's the third one, a 3rd and 9. Burline to Irvin for 13 yards, and the Cowboys keeping the drive moving.
Just a physical mismatch with Irvin being so much bigger than Green.
3rd and 7, Emmitt Smith runs for 8. Flag was on the Skins. On 4th down, up 7, Jimmy Johnson says, Willis, get in there. And Ken hooks it in. It's good. And the Cowboys are up by 10. An unbelievable upset. But the Skins weren't done yet. 25 seconds to go. Mark Rippon to Ricky Sanders for a touchdown, 24-21. Watch what he does. Throws the ball at Isaac Holt's head. A stupid move. Penalized 15 yards. Enforced on the kickoff. It turned out to be academic. The onside kick recovered by Darrell Johnston. And Burline, in relief for the Cowboys, beats Joe Gibbs and the Skins, their first loss of what's been a magical season. Remember, Jimmy Johnson won his first game ever at RFK. That was the only game they won a couple of years ago. They'll be talking about this one for a long time. The Cowboys solidify their playoff shots, and the Skins are no longer unbeaten. 9 teams had started the season 11-0 in NFL history. Only 3 of them advanced to 12-0. The 34 Bears, who eventually lost the title game to the Giants in the sneaker game, the 72 Dolphins, who remained perfect, and the 85 Bears, who were beaten on that one Monday night by Miami. Those are the only 3 that made it. The Skins could not. Last year's Super Bowl champs, the Giants, at Tampa Bay. These fans must have stayed since January because there were Giant fans all over the place. Early on, the punt to Dave Meggett, and look at that low Meggett run. Only one man could beat him. It's Marty Carter. Meggett looking healthy. Punt return 70 yards. The G-men lead it 7-0. Vinny Testaverde trying to rally the Bucs. But Lawrence Taylor had other ideas. Blows off the blocker and registers one of 7 sacks today by the Giants. Then, Vinny. I said, Vinny, wake up! The snap is off his face. Look what happens. Get alert! A bad moment here. Ian Beckles hits LT with the block below the knees, and LT had to be helped off.
Yeah, a back block. Nothing illegal about it. Just unfortunate he hit him right on the knee.
Sprained left knee. No word on next week for Lawrence Taylor, but he left the field. Ray Hanley had other concerns. Mark Collins wheeled off. Doug Razorberg wheeled off. Then the big one. Very scary moment. Hostetler to Meggett, but you see he's plowed by Broderick Thomas. And Haas wasn't moving. What happened here, Tommy?
Well, Chris, the problem you have is a linebacker coming from your backside, and it looks like Meggett just missed him. I won't label him with that, but certainly they allowed him to come untouched.
Fractured bone in his lower back, not a broken back. They say no neurological problem, say may return this season. But guess who finally gets to play in a big game at Tampa Stadium? It's Phil Simms. He hands to Rodney Hampton, and just like that, the Giants are up 14-7. But of all people, Vinny poised for a comeback. Testaverde to Mark Carrier for 11 yards. Reggie Cobb at 110 yards rushing against the Giants. Here's 10 of them. And then Vinny from the 19 to Willie Sylvia Drury. It's a touchdown. We're tied at 14 in the 4th quarter. The Bucs trying to pull the upset again at home. I see your name, Hanley, Sims. Who are you guys? But that's how the Giants are trying to win it. Billy Sims to the rookie Ed McCaffrey for 13 yards. Sims to Dave Meggett. Look at that little Meggett run. 12 yards. 26 seconds to go. Phil Simms to Stephen Baker. Just beautiful. Down to the 30 in range for a long field goal. Billy Sims or Phil Sims, whatever you are, get in there. Sims to Stephen Baker. Same corner of the end zone he scored in the Super Bowl at Tampa Stadium against the Bills. And he hands the ball to a wheelchair fan by the Giants. Phil Simms' expression says it all. Here it is again.
Pretty good coverage by Alonzo Hampton, but that throw is so perfect. He doesn't even get a chance to turn around and make a play.
Phil Simms, 10 of 14 for 100 yards. Leonard Marshall, veteran Giants, young Giants say thank you. You kept us in this thing. Pepper had a big game on defense, and the Giants beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and they upped their mark to 7-5, and now they are definitely thinking wild card shot in the playoffs. And what irony it is to have Phil Simms go in, and now the news, as we mentioned on Hostetler, looked pretty good, although that was very scary. Now, he could come back in 3 or 4 weeks, but Handley may have a decision on Phil Simms to make, and isn't that ironic? Tom, let's go to the Redskins game. Washington loss had to happen. Dallas was prime today, weren't they?
Well, we've talked about the skill people for the Dallas Cowboys. When you think about the fact that both of their receivers, Alvin Harper and Michael Irvin, both over 100 yards receiving the ball, Emmitt Smith 132 yards running the ball, and the combination of Berline and Aikman with plus 300 yards throwing the football. So their skill people came through today in the clutch.
Sometimes teams match up, Tom, and although Dallas's defense statistically has not had a good season, they have a good scheme against Washington.
It's coaches and their schemes. You know, 3 out of the last 5 times that the Cowboys have been in RFK Stadium, they have won. Not many people can say that, and I think as long as Jimmy Johnson is at Dallas and Joe Gibbs is in Washington, which could be a considerable length of time, you're going to have some success from the Cowboys in Washington.
I tell you what, the Redskins, they're disappointed tonight that they're no longer undefeated, but if the goal is to win the Super Bowl, they might as well get a loss and not have to think about going undefeated. Now they can concentrate on division and home field and get back to the task. And I'm a little disappointed seeing their fans booing them today when they were down.
Yeah, I thought it was pathetic.
That was, yes, pathetic is a better word for that. Tell you who was not pathetic today, Emmitt Smith. Again, in his 4th game against the Cowboys, for the Cowboys against the Redskins, he now has 439 yards rushing and 6 touchdowns. Remember the Monday night game, he had to leave with a stomach problem in the second half. He has ruined the Skins and ruined their hopes at an undefeated season. We'll be back with Primetime Players.
Out of a shotgun formation, takes the direct snap. Fires it long and deep left sideline. Fryer's got it to the 20, 15, 10, 5, touchdown! Irving Fryer breaking a tackle at the 10-yard line.
Too lightly, but the Eagles, they felt pretty good about their chances playing the Cardinals at Phoenix because they had won all 3 previous meetings in Phoenix over the years. But quarterback Stan Gelbaugh, he would see firsthand why the Eagles have the best defense in the league, and he didn't see anything but that green. The Eagles defense, the story of the first half, turnover. Number 1, Seth Joyner hits Stan Gelbaugh. So he pops up the ball, and John Booty is there to pick it off in a crowd, and that set up the Eagles' first score. Turnover number 2. Johnny Johnson gets popped by Wes Hopkins. Seth Joyner is there to scoop it up and run it in from 34 yards out. Made it 13-zip, TJ.
Yeah, more of the same here. Somebody must miss an assignment. Seth Joyner comes unmolested, sacks Stan Gelbaugh, causes the fumble, and Clyde Simmons cleans up for the touchdown.
27 Eagles. Turnover number 4. Larry Sanders makes the catch, but Andre Waters makes the tackle, and he causes yet another fumble. Jim McMahon got a little wet today. Ken Harvey says, hey, Jim, why don't you have a drink of Gatorade? He was penalized for a late hit, to say the least. Second quarter, the Cards get a turnover. Lorenzo Lynch picks off McMahon. And then he goes in from 35 yards out, and Lorenzo feeling pretty good about himself. Yeah, he got a penalty for a little taunting there. 20-14, Eagles still up. But the Eagles get turnover number 5 at the end of the first half. Wes Hopkins with the acrobatic catch. And the Eagles D, 5 takeaways, resulting in 2 touchdowns. Stan Gelbaugh, again, welcome to the NFL. 4 interceptions, and he was sacked 3 times. The Eagles win 34-14. The Cards are 4-11 at home versus the NFC East since moving to Phoenix in '88. The Jets still with a shot at the playoffs, hosting the upstart Lightning Bolts. An opening kickoff fumble by San Diego left Ken O'Brien and the Jets in great field position. 2nd and 2 from the 6. O'Brien finds Rob Moore. Jets up early, 7-zip. Still early in the first from the 10. Blair Thomas takes it in for a touchdown, or is it a touchdown? Bruce Coslet, he wants to know this. Take a look at the replay. Thomas's knee is on the goal, but look, the ball, it is not. So it is, of course, not a touchdown. So play it again, Blair. from the 1-yard line. No doubt about it, he's in there this time. His first touchdown of the year, TJ.
Yeah, and a good game by Kenny O'Brien. Here he does some scrambling around, something that we don't see a lot from him, and then completes a pass to Al Toon. I think any good quarterback in this league, if you give them time to throw the football, they're going to have some success. Here, nice touch as he throws a good ball to Rob Moore.
Yeah, give him time. He'll get it done. Good day also for the Jets defense. Second quarter here, Eric McMillan on the blitz sacks John Freeze. That play knocked him out of the game. His replacement, Bob Galliano, didn't fare any better. Intercepted here in the third by Michael Brim. Dan Henning quite unhappy. Fourth quarter, following the Brim pickoff, Blair Thomas, solid day. Some nice cuts. Makes it in from 22 yards out for the score. The Jets up 24-3. Thomas's second touchdown of the day, also the second of the year. 15 carries for 76 yards as the Jets go on for the victory, 24-3. Pat Leahy with the third quarter 28-yard field goal. His 300th of his career. He's now fourth on the list, tied with Mark Mosley.
Jets were due to play a good game. They had played some good games earlier this year, and they kind of stumbled lately, even losing to the Colts. That one, they look good, and beating the Lightning Bolt team, they beat them twice last year. All right, when we return, we've showed you all the divisional leaders that have lost. The Bears, too. They were playing the Dolphins in the snow. By the way, if you're thinking about the Pro Bowl, which some of us here are, Barry Sanders and Emmitt Smith, why don't we start them in the backfield for the NFC? They both had over 100 yards today. Barry over 200 yards today. Reggie Cobb and John L. also had the C-note. We'll be back.
We'll be hamming it up at the top of the hour with Steve Walsh of the Saints, Chris Miller of the Falcons, and Saints at 8 Eastern. The Dolphins at the Bears, two classic football coaches. Going into today, we thought only one classic team in a classic stadium, Soldier Field, in classic football weather. Snow, late November. Mike Ditka, it's Bears weather. Don Shula, they don't get this week, it's suntans in Miami. Brad Muster with the football in the end zone. It's a touchdown for the Colonel. It's 7-0 Bears early. Miami driving in the second quarter. Oh, no. Not another fumble deep inside the 10-yard line by Sammy Smith.
Yeah, a good hit by Sean Gale. Head right on the football, right there. But Don Shula can only take so much of that inside the 10, Chris.
Sammy Smith on the bench. Mark Higgs in. Bears 10-3 at the half. Now 13-6 in the fourth quarter. Harbaugh in trouble. Sidesteps a defender, buys time. James Thornton is wide open. It's a 38-yard pickup. Bears looking for the field goal, but Harbaugh can't handle the snap. Kevin Butler tries it anyway in case it's a soccer goal over there, and it's no good. So the Dolphins trail still by only a touchdown. And Fontenot snap over the head of Maury Buford with 2:10 to go. It's a key miscue, and the Dolphins have recovered deep at the 4-yard line. Then, Mike Ditka can't believe it, but you better. Dan Marino passes Sonny Jurgensen in a third all-time on a touchdown list. Farrell Evans just off IR Monday does it. We're tied at 13. Bears come back. Harbaugh to Wendell Davis, 5 seconds to go. From 50, can the Butler do it? It's long enough. It's not long enough. No good. We go to overtime. Dolphins ball their first possession. Marino. Look at Mark Clayton make the catch. And then wind still blowing hard. Pete Stoyanovich off the Florida beach into the Chicago dark. And Don Shula has pulled off an upset. The Dolphins at 6-6, they're back in the hunt. They beat the Bears in overtime 16-13. And what that means is if the Bears lose on Thanksgiving at Detroit, tied for first place now in the NFC Central. Big game in the AFC West. Broncos at the Seahawks. Tough first half for number 7, John Elway in Denver. Third play of the game, Rufus Porter strips Elway of the ball. The veteran Jacob Green recovers for Seattle. Porter is fired up. Seahawks get a field goal, 3-0 Seattle. Second quarter, Elway on the move. Unheralded strong safety, Robert Blackman. Second-year man makes the pick. 2 picks for Seattle in the first half against Elway. Seattle taking advantage of turnovers. Brown Chuck has been lean Chuck this year, but John L. Williams shows some speed. There's Craig out there looking like, yes, he does throw a block. 42-yard pickup by John L. down to the 8. Setting up Craig to Jeff Chadwick. 13-0 Seattle at the half, but they've stumbled in second halves at home before. Craig back to pass. Mike Kroll strips the ball. Warren Powers runs into the end zone, 22 yards. It's now a 13-7 Seattle lead. After a field goal by Treadwell makes it 13-10, 4th and 2. The Seattle 34, under 5 minutes to go. They chatted over. Elway swarmed under. Seahawks take over on downs. Dan Reeves and the Broncos said maybe we shouldn't have gambled. Maybe Dave Craig shouldn't have gambled. Picked off by Michael Brooks. What's he doing? Second pick off by Craig by the Broncos down to the 45. Elway for the win. Mark Jackson, oh, he's nailed. He drops it.
Yeah, he didn't just drop, though. Robert Blackman tipped that ball just a little bit, then he gets nailed. And you can see in this next shot how disappointed John Elway was.
Every picture tells a story. I think that was Rod Stewart. So the Seattle Seahawks wasn't pretty. 4 turnovers by Craig. 2 picks and 2 fumbles with the small hands. But Seattle beats Denver 13-10. And the Seahawks are equal at 6-6. Remember, 3 of their last 4 are at home. And at home, they are very, very tough. What a week it's been. Week 13. We've got primetime players to come. And we also have our honor roll of passers. 300-yard passers. Warren Moon in the loss. Steve DeBerg in the loss. Nice numbers. Not the role they wanted to be on. We'll be back.